What's up, everybody? It's me, Zombie. Today, we are going to be working on something really fun. You may recognize this. I actually got this from Spirit Halloween, and it was only $25. $25 for a Pip-Boy. Can't beat that. We're gonna just be souping this thing up. So as you can see, I have some paint stuff out here right now. I'm actually going to bust out my new favorite paints, my Vallejos. These are little brushable miniature paints, however, I'm going to be using them in my airbrush. I used them in my airbrush a couple weeks ago, and they worked out really great. I am going to be using this, and also some Vallejo Flow Improver. We'll see if my airbrush is working today. I don't know about your airbrushes, for you airbrushy people out there, but I find that mine is like super temperamental, and I've had a few people tell me it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter, airbrushes are just kind of, you know, that way. But I feel like I've been getting more used to it, trying some new products. This Flow Improver has definitely helped a lot, but I don't want to talk too soon because I want to see if this thing actually works or not. It might be a good time to give up, folks. I'm just gonna put my paint right in there. We're gonna paint this little Pip-Boy. So what we got here, I've got kind of like a medium-y size brush, maybe you would call it. And I'm gonna go into kind of all of these little deep details right here. I'm just gonna go over and start filling these in. I'm gonna go in with my paper towel, just dunking it right into my paint water. I'm just going after all the stuff that kind of spills over that edge right here. And it kind of creates these neat smudges when I do that, and it kind of makes it look like dirt and weathering and all that fun stuff. You can see like all of these lines where it was assembled, like popped together or glued together. I want to celebrate those little guys. It adds a lot of really interesting detail. And even where I don't have assembly lines, I just kind of have little differences in, you know, size and ridges right here. I'm gonna go over those too. Gonna go right around the whole thing. And without the airbrush, this is definitely going to have kind of a different style, but I'm kind of okay with it. And it's okay if it's not perfect. I definitely don't have a steady hand today. You're gonna be going after them and scrubbing some of that away anyway. And what I want to do next, I think I want to add some silver on here. I have my little silvery pen right there, which I'm gonna use on some more obvious spots. And then after this, I'll either, haven't decided yet, I could either go over the whole thing in a black, weathery, nasty wash, or I could dry brush some more silver details on it and then put a wash on it. We'll see how we're feeling. Now I'm not going over the whole thing, just around those little edges where I think some paint may have chipped off there. Kind of randomly, just where those little corners are sticking up. You know that it's probably rubbed against stuff and chipped off. I just want it to look random enough where it looks, you know, kind of believable. But I'm a person who tends to overweather everything. So the Fallout universe is very kind to me in that respect. They're like, don't worry, everything is like 500 years old. I'm like, perfect. That's for me. So I dipped the end of my chip brush in my silver spray paint. I'm gonna kind of dilute a little bit. I have some brown paper down here in my workspace, so I just kind of brushed some of it off so there's not so much on there, and rolled up my sleeves because it's about to get messier. And now on some of the edges and in some other random wide area, just where you think that, you know, this thing would have rubbed for a while and maybe some metal is showing through, I'm going over it with the edge of my chip brush. And you may not be able to see it much on the green, but on the black and on these edges, ooh, it's really gonna pop. You do have to watch for the little bristles do sometimes come out because they're not the most expensive brushes ever. For this front of the frame right here, I'm doing the same thing. Being a little bit more generous with my spray paint. I'm really going over the edge of this lip right here because this is where it's really gonna show up nicely. And I'll even take it and run it back like this, as if the paint has scraped off the front of the frame back towards the center of the Pip-Boy. I even like to go inside of the frame since this thing is all masked off anyway. I really like how that looks. I just went along this frame right here on these sharp little details. But that's what we got so far. I might even be more generous up here just to give some like really distinct marks. And I'm going about halfway up on the brush and just dragging it back. It's bringing a lot more pigment with it. So probably would be a good time to take off the masking, at least on our little silver areas here. So there is our, oh no! My masking tape took the little sticker straight off. It done snatched my little latch sticker. I was thinking about masking these little areas with the stickers, but I'm glad I didn't. That would have been crazy town. You know, luckily it's Fallout. I could just paint that little pattern back on, and that wouldn't be a big deal. It would probably be more vibrant if I used my yellow. So I'll try to do that real quick. Heck, why not? Okay, taking some bright heckin' orange. I'm good at them words. Bright heckin' orange. Hey, that actually looks pretty okay. I think with a couple layers, you're not gonna be able to tell. So I'm gonna do a couple layers of the yellow and then go back over with a couple layers of the black, and it'll be fine. So I have these guys right here. My faves. I got my burnt orange, my burnt sienna, and my chocolate brown. I love mixing these three to get my rust, my dirt, my nastiness. And I'll also be using a little bit of black here and there to make colors more bold and to change things up a bit. Also helps with layering. Okay, this is like my favorite scrubby brush, if you can't tell. Like the end is just like totally fluffed out. I love using it for my scrubbing. And it is good for a weathering. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of water. But right now I'm gonna start with a darker brown. I'm gonna go in some of my little creases right here. And I may even add a little bit of black to that just to make it look a little bit more grimy. There we go, that's the color I want. It's kind of like a nasty, dirty, dusty brown. And as I'm doing this, I'll even wrap up a little paper towel, get it kind of wet, and I'll even just kind of dab around the edges right here. And it really helps just like fade everything out. But I'll go in with another smaller paintbrush and go into all of those finer little creases. This little complex crease would probably collect a lot of gook. And fading out all that dust, that's kind of the effect that it gives it right there. In this kind of situation, I wouldn't scrub too hard with my paper towel, just because you kind of get those little paper ball-y pieces left behind, which is okay, you can brush them away, but sometimes it prevents your paint job from being exactly how you want it, so dabbing prevents that a bit. Here is some burnt sienna. I'm going to be adding some bigger spots first, and then going in with a smaller brush for the more fun detailed stuff. So going in this crease right here, I like putting the most orange pieces of the rust kind of in areas where I think that water would pool and the rust would form. So I switched my brush to this teeny tiny little praying brush. I'm going in with my burnt sienna and pressing it into my little corners that I like. Because that's where you start seeing those fun little pops of color amidst all the grime. I'm just taking a big bead of water from my water can, and I'm going in a little area where I've put a lot of rust detail, adding some pigment with my wet brush, and just kind of dragging it down where it would kind of drip off and into the back here. And I'm just guiding it right there. Now I'm going into this little disc right here, really pressing in the pigment, and even going over it with my hand because my hands are already covered in paint, who cares? Here's what that looks like a little bit closer up with that pop of rusty orange on it. I'm trying not to go overboard, but like low-key also going overboard. Put some orange in, a few more edges. It happens so often where, you know, I'll be like, okay, I'm done with something, and then I'll look back later and, you know, add a few more little details here and there. But I think for right now, I'm pretty happy with this thing. It's a weather Pip-Boy. I'm gonna pull back the masking tape and see what that situation is like. Yay, it's not destroyed. That's good news. I like that news. Hurrah! Oh my gosh, so fun! Just for giggles. I know everyone's like, stop! I am going to put some muck just by the screen right here. Okay, well dang. That looks a lot different than it did when we first busted this out today. This is like a dirty little Pip-Boy now. Hooray! It's a dusty, dirty little Pip-Boy. Looks like he's been around in the wasteland for quite a little while. As for the inside right here, I am going to be adding some 10mm foam and dremeling it down and then putting it around the edge right here. Maybe even 6mm foam if that's too thick. But just something so there's some padding in here so when I wear it, it looks real cool. Again, this was just from Spirit Halloween. It was a super simple little prop. It was $25 and it was fun just to spiff it up and make something that would work well for my Fallout cosplay. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, hit that subscribe button and feel free to share your costume or maker projects with me, as I would love to see them. I'll see you again soon. Bye.